So yeah, the common mistakes that entrepreneurs make start with this really, which is not understanding the motivations of different investors. Um, it's quite tempting to think that your business you're very passionate about, you get really excited by it, but it's clear that a lot of people don't really understand that the investors also have an agenda, and they are human beings after all, and we have to cater to that more than what we need for ourselves. So this slide here is just a real quick breakdown in the type of investors you'll see, especially in the earlier stage of your journey. So if you look in the top right here, and we have venture funds. So these are other people's money. So they're run by individuals who take money from people like pension funds and very, very wealthy individuals, and they will source and see companies and invest in ones they think will fit their portfolio. They generally do 100,000 to about 1.5 million. Sometimes you see more, but in the early stages, an average is probably about 3 to 500,000. And then as we work around the pie chart, we've separated the category of angel investors because I think it's very important to understand the different types and the motivations behind them. So in green is like casual angels who put anything from £100 to £2,000 up. They really just kind of dabble. There's no real strategy involved. They'll invest in something they just like the look of. Often be on a crowdfunding side. They might see a brewery they like and they think, hey, I like beer. Let's put a little bit of cash in. And so, not really serious. They just do it for a bit of fun from time to time. Then we move around to the amateur angels, which I class myself as one of these, which is we put in between 7.5 and 35,000 into companies. It's our personal money. We often co-invest with people we trust who are in a similar situation. We can be quite selective. It's often with things we know about and things we feel comfortable with, but the reason we co-invest is because lots of other of our contacts have different expertise, and if they agree to something, we'll generally follow on. We'll probably do maybe 4 or 5 investments a year. And then you have the real professional angels, which will put, again, anything from like 25,000 to 150,000 in. So these are people with really big exits. They look for strong team and opportunity. They rarely do it on their own, but they will lead a group of angel investors that they already know. And again, people trust because they have the credibility. And they often invest alongside other venture funds and VCs. So in the great scheme of it, you'll probably find yourself with the angels, and if you can find a pro angel, fantastic. They'll probably bring the others on board, but the amateur angels are the ones really to focus on. And what I really wanted to cover off is what motivates them, right? So first off, surprisingly, is fun. It's something that they want to find the idea interesting. That because they know they're going to be spending quite a bit of time with the founders. The founders need to get on well with the investor. It needs to be an interesting business, and that hey, we're going to be spending maybe 3, 5, 7 years with these people. So fun is pretty much going to have to be top of the list here. Second bit is knowledge. It's very interesting to learn about different spaces that maybe you haven't built a business in before. So angels will want to know how the team goes about it, what they know about the market. And again, know over the next few years, but building that knowledge about that sector is actually quite useful for an investor. Third, network, not just creating relationships with the team that you're going to invest in, but other fellow investors into the business. If you see people you don't know or people you respect, angel investors like to form little groups because then they can share expertise and deals that come their way. And then lastly, money, which you probably normally would think at the top. An angel is expecting a return. Hopefully, you might get 3-5 times the money it's put in, but you'll assume most of them break even and possibly lose cash. So you'll find that angel investors will probably only invest 2% of their net worth at any given time. And because of that, they are quite willing to take risks and accept that some will lose. So I think if you really get to understand these and the motivations for angels, you can tailor how you pitch it to them. So, if you make something that's fun and that you've got domain knowledge in and that you've bring in other investors to the table that have credibility, and then you say, look, there's a good chance you'll make some money, you'll stand a lot more success than if you just try and say, hey, look, it's a brilliant idea. You definitely should just invest. There's a little side note at the bottom, which is just about VCs. We haven't got time to cover that in this webinar, but the VCs have a slightly different approach because, again, it's not their money. And they really do need big wins. So they are unlikely to invest in a business unless they can see it making hundreds of millions of pounds and going global, because they know 9 out of them will probably fail or just return the money invested. So they need one just as a runaway hit to make the returns. So you'll find it more likely to get angel investors than VCs. And in fact, I always recommend get angels first before you even talk to venture capitalists.